and Dr. Lana is going to speak on ethics in medicine, because without the ethical committee approval, no, I think even for a DNB, the thesis, as well as I think all the MS thesis, you need an ethical committee approval even before you start the study. So I think the homework starts now, not at the end of the year. And I'm happy you have the librarian, we have everybody from the faculty here. And I request Dr. Lahane to start his talk. And also, once again, from bottom of our heart, from All India Ophthalmic Society, I think we have a wonderful captive audience who are really should benefit.
Thank you, Dr. Natarajan. Santhan, BK, morning he was not there. Friends, I am not going to speak on the ethical committee. I am a dean of a medical college, and because of that, I am concerned with the ethics, what you exercise for the treatment of the patient. Now when you see the oldest code, what was the oldest code? Was there ethics in the oldest code? Of course, there was ethics. Hippocratic oath. We always know what we see, what oath we take after passing. But today, the ethics at that time was, you can see these people sitting here, Vasumati, sitting Natarajan, sitting Taide, sitting BK Nayak. So we will see that person, and then we will know, yes, whatever he does, that is ethical. It means we were observing the people, that at my time there was a Dr. Bhagwat, or big people, Dr. Vyavare in Aurangabad. So we used to see how they behave, and that was ethics. But today what has happened? Where we are, whatever the things we talk, ethics, then you people, everybody, it is not only JJ, it is India. What you see, then you go to the Google, put that question in the Google, and you ask Google what is ethics. And then that person will tell you the business ethics, that person will tell you some other ethics, and then you feel it is nothing. Ethics is there everywhere, and it is not required to follow. And because it is not defined properly in the Google, today you require that we must teach you what is ethics. And for that we have taken a decision and passed in the now Lok Sabha that MBBS syllabus will include ethics for 25 hours every year. First year 25 hours, second year 25 hours, and third year 25 hours. So that we will teach you what is ethics. And now you see where the new generation is going on. If you are coming for the MBBS, that is a medical, here it is very, very important that you must know the ethics, but that is not happening. So this, everything you know, I don't want to just tell you. Now this is what to consider dear to me as my parents. Him who taught me this art, to live in common with him, and if necessary to share my good with him. See, that time they were thinking of that every person who comes to you, he is your relative. What is today? Every person who comes to you irritates you. Why that person has came? If you have accepted a profession medicine, you should not get irritated of the number of the patients, questions of the patient, or treatment that you want to give to the patient. But that happens today. Every junior resident is irritated with the patient. And so if the number of the patient is more, he will say, I don't want to admit this patient. And then you know the tossing, that patients, the case paper goes from one place to other place to other place, and at so many places that case paper tosses, and nobody admits that patient. Now once it is admitted in some department and it is sent to the other department that disease, he will say, yes, it may be an ophthalmology, he will say, yes, you do the CSF study. How ophthalmology resident is going to do CSF study? But the other resident don't want to do. So that is the ethics today. And after that also we have joined the medicine. And once you have joined the medicine, the cases are going to increase. Why cases are going to increase? Attitude. You'll have to change the attitude. And if you change the attitude, that is ethics, nothing more than that. But that we are not considering. Now I don't want to say all these things, but these are the histories, when it is formulated, who was the person, why it is formulated, everything. And these are the different, it is a set for the ethical principle regarding human experimentation, because at that time it was happening. So these declarations of the Alma Ata, and Medical Council. Now the Medical Council of India was first established 34, and under the Indian Medical Council Act in 1933, and the council was later reconstituted under the Indian Medical Council at 56, and that replaced the earlier act. So 33 act was changed in 56. Now what do you mean by ethics means? Now why I am writing this definition? Because of the new generation. New generation, in the morning I told you people to come at 9. You are junior resident. So nobody is there. So that is what is ethics. So we are not concerned with anything what is happening in the world. So that is the problem. Everything we are carefree. And that does not fit in the profession of medicine. Now by definition it is a self-imposed code. Nobody is going to tell you. But now government is going to tell you. Now when you are not imposing code yourself, then there is a body called as government that imposes code on you. And that code is not for only treatment but also for the punishment. And so, you know, so many doctors' registrations are cancelled. Why? Ethics. Small thing that they are not going with the ethics. And this conduct assumed the voluntary by the medical profession. So the people, great people that time decided that this should be the code. And now see we knew that etiquettes deal with the conventional law of the courtesy observed between members of the medical professions. But what is happening today? We are not going for the ethics. Now what is difference? The medicine is about can we, and ethics is about should we. That is very, very important. Whenever you are thinking, you will have to think, should we? You should do it or not, and that is ethics. Now see the ethics, what is right, the moral. We always say moral. That comes from the Latin mos, more. It comes moral. Then the ethics comes from the Greek ethos. And both have meaning of customs, our generally accepted social norms. But what is right is not just a matter of social norm. Now here, the profession norm is not an always right. It does revise over time. So this ethics revise every day, every time, every patient, every moment. So that doesn't fit that ethics is decided or defined here like this. So that ethics may be different whenever you are dealing with some different patients. And what is legally permitted is not always right. Otherwise we will go with the law. We are not the people, we are going to go work legally. We are going to work morally and ethically. That is what is required in the medical profession. Now what are the ethical principles? Now see, commonly quoted ethical principles are autonomy, beneficence, justice, these normal fictions these are the useful, but themselves are not adequate for the ethical decisions. Whatever the word you keep or definition you keep, that is not sufficient for the ethics in medicine. Now autonomy. Respects for an individual autonomy or ability to make decisions for herself or himself. Now include respect for their privacy and confidentiality. They need to provide sufficient information for them to make informed choice. Truth telling. They have to tell the truth. protection of the person with diminished or impaired autonomy. So that is what is an autonomy. Now, are we really observing this? No, we are not observing this. We are not telling the truth. So that, now beneficence, if you see, this refers to the tradition of acting always in the patient's best interest to maximize benefits and minimize harm. So you have to harm less, give benefit more, and compared to whatever you are doing for that patient, and that is ethics. Now here this principle ensures that the treatment of research should not be produce harm. So if you are going to do the research, that should not produce harm to the patient. So now you might have read the article yesterday in the Times of India that 1733 patients died in the research. And once they are died, how they are died? They are died from 200 onward, every year increasing, and this year it is 635 people died by the research. Now why this is happening? It is happening because the people in India are not educated, and we are misusing those people for the research, and the companies are misusing. Where this research is happening, it is happening in the very, very smaller hospitals, and because of that, today the law of the land has been passed that there should not be research unless and until there is ethical committee. Now what about the ethical committee? You go to Pune, there are 100 ethical committee in one you can say city. Now this should not be there. Or otherwise what is happening, if I will say I will not pass that, they will go to the other ethical committee and that will pass. So all these ethical committees should be interrelated. And what is happening today, the ethical committee is going for the research, publishing the research for the companies. But the ethical committee who is passing that committee is not punished. Under the new law, the ethical committee member will be punished for 5 years imprisonment if that is wrong research, and 10 years the person who is going to do the research. And that is a wrong research where they will cause the problem to the patient. So that the government is going to pass in the near future. So this principle ensures the treatment or research there should not be negligence or misconduct. Now today it is happening as a negligence also and misconduct also. Now physicians should not prescribe these medications unless he or she knows that the treatment is unlikely to be harmful, or that the patient understands the risk and the benefits, and that the likely benefits outweigh the likely risk. So that you will have to think whenever you are prescribing the medicine to the patient. Justice. This refers to the need to treat all people equally and fairly. Now society uses a variety of factors as a criteria for distributive justice, including each person an equal share. We never think that each person is an equal share. We always think the poor person is not having share in India. Remember well, there are 80% poor people in India, but we never think of that. We well-to-do person, he comes to you, you will take care of him, and when person is not having the clothes properly, you will say, okay, kal aa jao. Once you say that kal aa jao, that is very wrong thing ethically. Now each person according to the need. What is happening according to the need today? You write the medicine, and you write the medicine whatever you want, where the company is going to pay you. So that you write the medicine. And what company is going to pay you? One cinema ticket, or some you can say the pizza or burger. And for that, what you are doing? You are prescribing the medicine for the patient whose intestine will not work, whose heart will not work, whose lung will not work, sometimes brain will not work. And like that you are prescribing. So this should not happen. It should not be related by the gains. Nothing should happen for the gains or anything. It is going to come if you treat the patient properly. Now each person according to the effort, the contribution, merit, and the market exchanges, we should strive to provide some decent minimum levels of health care for all citizens regardless of ability to pay. But this we never do. What you do? Who is able to pay is more able. Who is unable to pay is more disabled. So this is happening today in medicine, and because of that, ethics is must in the syllabus of MBBS. Now this was the euthanasia. You know that you want to die. Now what is this? This is a painless killing, nothing. The person, in some countries such as the Netherlands, the euthanasia is accepted as standard medical practice. Now legal regulations assign this to the medical profession. In such nations, the aim is to alleviate the suffering of the patient from disease. So they are doing, but it is not passed in India. Informed consent. Now you tell me what is consent for you? All the residents who are from surgery, what is the consent? You have got two consent. One, you write the consent normally in English. That consent, normally a stamp, put a stamp, it is 90%. Otherwise, you write it in the handwriting of you that you can't read later on. And then the patient comes and he will have to just give the thumb. And that is informed consent for this medical college or any other medical college. So if this is the informed consent, then patients are going to die. There will be court cases. You know, the thumb impression taken for the patient is not considered as a consent in the court of law. When you are taking a thumb impression, there should be signature of a person normally related to a patient and full name and address of that person. So that is what is a consent. We are not doing that. We just take a thumb impression, it's a consent. So this will not give. The ethics usually refers to the idea that a person must be fully informed about and understand the potential benefits and risk of their choice of treatment. What do we say? If patient asks you, "Ye mera kya hai?" Chup bol baba. What is the this is the choice. That we answer the patient. And if patient asks twice, isko yahan se hakal do. This is what we do. And after that also we are in the medical profession. And if you are going to that, then why you have joined medical profession? If you have joined, change your mind. Ask your mind to turn 360 degree and first of all love the patient. Patient is for you. That is a very, very important thing. And this you will have to change. No, you are for the patient. Patient will come to you, but you are for the patient. Patient is not for you. Now see, the commonly confidentiality applied to the conversations between doctors and patient. And when physicians and physicians, what happens if there is something within fraction of second that is discussed outside? Are isko HIV hai? Why? Why you discuss all these things? So this is the code of ethics that confidentiality should be maintained for the patient, that we never do. Communication. Now many so-called ethical conflicts in medical ethics are traceable back to the lack of communication. Now here, and many apparently, now this insurmountable ethics means non-solvable. Ethics problems can be solved with the open lines of communication. See why there are fights, why people come. It is because we are not talking to the patient. So many ethical problems are there that will be solved just to talk to the patient properly. So whenever you are fatigued, don't see the patient. Again go, refresh, come and see the patient. You should be always fresh to see the patient and answer the questions of the patient. Now clear distinction, clinical and ethical analysis. Now profession and everyday ethics and the incident in lead. Now this incident means whatever you can say the good things, you keep that. Medical ethics, the matter of opinion. Now what is the patient right? Right to medical treatment, information, choice, privacy and complaint. So this is the patient's right. Now doctor-patient relationship you have seen. But today, now see, there are few types of relationship. as there is a 6 minutes, so I will talk to on this. Now this paternalistic, then contractual and fiduciary. So these are the three types of relationships which are there in the patient. Now this model, the doctor is the professional, he or she gives the order and the patient obeys. So this model where the doctor whatever says, that patient will obey, and here what are the strength emphasizes the expertise and the knowledge of the doctor. But today I don't think this model should work, because doctors, they may have knowledge, they may not have knowledge. They may misuse if the patient obeys. And here weaknesses are ignores the autonomy of the patient. Because here it is autonomy is ignored and ignores non-health related but morally legitimate values of the patient. And so this model, it should not be used. Now this is the approach that you are telling now the contractual model. The doctors and patient contract for each other mutual benefit, and the patient determines or agrees to the doctor's decision. Now this is not written. Whatever is, it is an oral discussion. Now here the strength is highlights the autonomy of the both patient and physician, acknowledges the cooperative shared aspects of the medical decisions making. So because here doctor is going to tell that what I am going to do, what are the effects, what are the benefits. Weaknesses, no contract developed or signed in real doctor-patient relationship. It is not developed or signed, and model does not allow for the trusting relationship because it is not signed model. Now fiduciary relationship. Now here through the rules of ethics and rules of law, as a fiduciary one, as a relationship, this founded in trust, Vishwas. Fiduciary means Vishwas. You have got the, you can whatever, you respect the word of the doctor. When a patient seeks a physician's help and the physician agrees to give the help, a special, this covenant is made. It means you will have to agree or not agree. And after that, you will go ahead. The patient agrees to take the physician into his or her confidence to reveal to him even the most secret and intimate information related to her health. So, and the physician in turn agrees to honor that the trust and to become the patient's advocate in all matters related to her health, placing her interest above all others. So, whatever the interest is there, so what important thing is that we will have to keep patient respect above us also. And what is, I was discussing about this, is the ethics, and I think he will go with that, he will live with that. And if you live with that, nothing will go wrong. Now today what is the ethics? You see the patient and you examine the patient, and after that you feel that this patient is having some disease. And then he will send that patient to the other expert doctor. And he will think that doctor should give you cut practice. It means they share up 40% or 30%. And this is happening today. Now this should not happen at all. Why you should refer such type of people to the expert people? But I will tell you, those who are super specialist or specialist, they have done fellowships. They will come, go to the physicians, or you can say general practitioners, and then they will say, okay, I will give the such type of cut to you, you send patient to me. Otherwise that patient is having disease or not having disease, that person is going to operate the patient. And once that person operate, then he will earn. Otherwise if that patient will tell, the doctor will tell, no, there is no cataract, then that person, normally these people more are non-MBBS people. So those are normally you can say the other variety, the BAMS, or you can say the GPs. But that is rampant in GPs. And because of that, today, our profession, whenever we discuss anywhere, it is maligned totally. So we must See, we are doctor. Now in the PCPNDT Act also, now every day we listen that we are telling the patient that patient is having male or female sex inside the womb. So that we should not tell. But that is happening. We are learned people. I don't know why this is happening. But few people who are not having ethical mind, and that is not much. It is only 3 to 5%. And these 3 to 5% people are maligning the image of the very intelligent population called as doctor. All meritorious people, they come to the doctor profession. You go in the internship, you become IAS, what happens? Second day, the vehicle and everything is provided, people will come and salute you. That person has not passed the MBBS, he has not got admission in MBBS, but he is saluted throughout his life. You have got the admission in MBBS, and once you go to the internship, first of all you are asked, vacate the hostel. No place. After MBBS, you can't stay in the hostel also. That is the value of the doctor. But that is because of us. We have reduced our value. And that value should be, I think we must come together, and in the society, that society should again come to the same thing, that the doctors are demigod. And I think you will definitely, you are the pillars for that. You will raise the name of our society to again the previous one, that is demigod. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lane. I just wanted to add 2 points. No, we are still, sir, you have to be there for 2 minutes. No, I just wanted to add 2 points. Like several years back, I requested Dr. Lane, he's such a busy man, to come and address my residents. And he told that the only thing he does is every patient he treats like his mother. So after that, I have taken as a motto. So I've used the famous quotation from Gandhiji, and I've changed the word customer to patient, and I would like to read it, which is in my blog. A patient is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption on our work. He is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider on our business. He is a part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. And even in the mission I have included, our hospital will remain attentive to the eye care and well-being of those we serve through patient-focused care with 100% patient satisfaction, with 0% error, patient education and innovative service. Thank you, sir, for a great, legendary talk. And I request Dr. Barun Naik to thank Dr. Lane for everything, including the talk, and give the memento on behalf of the... and